Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. It's going to be in the 80s today. It's going to be a beautiful day, but it's the morning and it's still a little cool, so it's time to get some work done around the garden. It's July, which means it's a time that we spend a lot of time doing maintenance of flowers that have already bloomed or other things. So let's get started. We're going to dig in and we're going to do some deadheading today. We're going to clean up the potager garden a little bit, and we're just going to show you what I do to keep the garden looking good in July. All right, let's go. So this is the row of dianthus that I've already trimmed back, and you can see I take it right back down to just a couple inches above the ground level. And this is going to help it to regrow and set some new blooms for me. I forgot to introduce myself for those of you who are new to my channel. My name's Soleil, and this is a Zone 5B. So I'm just going to be clipping back these foxgloves right here because while they look okay right now, I really want to get a second bloom out of them, so that will do it. Now we're going to pull up this lettuce because it is spent. I've got to think a little bit about what I'm going to actually grow here instead of the lettuce. I should have planted some seeds as soon as I saw that this was getting ready to bolt, but I didn't. Everything's taken me a little bit longer this year because of my knee surgery, so it is what it is. All of this will just go into my compost pile, and the compost in turn will end up back on this bed in the fall. I like to leave as much of the soil in the garden bed as possible. The reason why it's important to try to plant succession crops is because now that I'm pulling these out, instead of planting something else in it, some of the seeds and little weed seeds are going to get in this garden bed, and then I'll have to deal with those instead of just having a crop cover the soil. But that's okay. I'll get on it. Also, try not to step into your planting beds if you can avoid it at all. So I'll do this half from this side, and then I'll come in from the other side. That just helps to avoid any compaction of the soil and allows your plants to get their roots in easier and keeps it nice and fluffy. This actually would be a really good time for me to plant some basil, and I have seeded some in another one of my garden beds, and I might just do that right here. That way I know something's going to be coming up soon. Even though everything's a lot slower for me this year, I sure am grateful to be able to be back out and being able to do what it is that I am able to do. Many of you contacted me and told me about your own surgeries and some of your gardening challenges, and I think it's great that you got through those as well and were able to get back out there. And I thank everyone who has continued to send me really kind thoughts in terms of keeping my recovery moving forward. So thank you for that. Looks really nice and clean now. I'm just going to leave those random lettuce leaves there. They'll dry up and just compost in place, and that'll be fine. So it looks great. All right, let's get on to the next task. You guys know how much I love the clearance rack at Lowe's, and I was so excited to see this dianthus the other day because I thought it would go really well with this Red Riding Hood penstemon, so I just wanted to show you it. Isn't that gorgeous? And I think it really plays off the coral color of the penstemon there. And I planted some on the corners as well, so I think that's going to look really lovely. Sorry about the light and shadows right now. It's really sunny. All right, let's go get after some deadheading. Lucky for me, this bed is in the shade. So right now we're going to work with the Midnight Masquerade penstemon. You can see it's been well pollinated and is going to set some seeds, but we're going to cut them off in the hopes that we get a rebloom on it. You can see this one over here is also still got some blooms on it, but we're still going to deadhead it because that way they'll all be kind of on the same schedule, and it's about more than 50% over, maybe more than 75% over, so we'll go ahead and cut that one back. And I have a couple that are right down here as well. So when I cut these back, you can see that the flower comes down to this stem. I just go right to the one below it, and new shoots will come up right on either side of that. So we'll do the same thing with these. Real quick and easy. Just clean them up, and I know it kills some people to cut off things that actually still have a couple of blooms on them, but it's really, this is the best way to go right now. Too many plants to deadhead just some and not others and then come through and do it again, so we do them all at the same time. So these dianthus right here are very spent. You can see there's probably about 90% of the blooms are all done. So what I'm going to do is gather them up into one grip, and this is how I did that line that we showed you at the beginning of the video, and just cut it back like this. Now there may be some that kind of get outside of that. You just come back in and grab those extra ones, but that's the fastest way to get after it, and to make sure that you get them all. Some of them might be a little bit taller, some of them might be a little bit shorter. What I don't like to do is have a bunch of sticks standing up, so if I see that, I just come in and trim those off. All right, let's get these done. We pause now for a brief safety message. Always wear gloves when doing these type of tasks so you don't snip a finger off. All right, let's take a look at this garden bed and see how it looks. I bet it looks a lot tidier now. All of these still have lots of blooms on them, and the pollinators are still loving them, so we're going to continue to keep those going. We won't deadhead them for a while. Uh-oh, good thing we came through. Looks like I missed one right down here. We'll grab that one. What happens when you have a million plants in your yard? All right, now it's done. So you can see I have pretty much a full cart of material from doing all of this work, and I fill up a cart probably maybe twice a week, and my husband has to take it to our really big compost bin that's in our way back. So I just want people to also realize that if you have a lot of plant material in your yard, you'll also have a lot of plant material that you want to compost. So having a composting system is a really good thing to have. And I have 2 bins up here, and then I have a giant bin in the backyard, and it works out really well, but I probably could use a second one in the way back as well. All right, we've got some Gara to plant now, so let's go get that done. So this is a Gara. It's called Beliza Dark Pink Gara. And the interesting thing about Gara is they send up these long shoots, and then they have these butterfly-like beautiful flowers. They're very small and dainty. They do bloom spring, summer, and fall though, so they're a long flowering plant. And I think these will be really pretty here. Now, I'm taking a risk with this one because it is hardy only down to a zone 6, and I garden in a zone 5B here in Michigan, so it's a little bit risky. I did plant 2 of these last fall, and only one of them came back. But now that I'm planting them earlier in the season, I think they'll have a better chance. And I also got these just for $4 a piece, so I thought it was a really good deal to try. All right. This is a no-dig bed. So basically I put about 6 inches of mulch on top of my soil, and it was from an arborist. They did a drop of chips. So I'm going to pull back this mulch, and then we're going to just plant directly into the wood chips. Now this has been here for a little bit, so the wood chips have broken down a lot, and there's plenty of life in this bed. Lots of small worms and little things that are breaking down all of those wood chips, and it's actually turning into really good soil. So I'm excited about that. These look like they have really great roots on them as well. You can see the bright white roots. Not too root bound. I might have to dig a little bit here. Let me see if I can grab my shovel just to get deeper down into the soil. All right, I think that should do it. We'll take some of those clumps of clay out. Let me just break up these roots a tiny bit at the bottom. All right, that looks good. Now while we have some clumps of clay, I'm just going to put it back in the soil with some of this nice mix, because what it does then is help to provide some of the minerals and nutrients that wouldn't be in the wood chips that have broken down. But I think that looks really nice. Now I have 5 more to plant, 1 other one in this bed and 3 underneath of the small crabapple tree. So let's get those done, and then we'll show you what it all looks like. I think that this looks kind of like a little bit of a fairy tale right here with all of the little Gara bouncing in the air, and I can't wait to see even more of them begin to flower. And it'll be nice to have a little bit of that continuity going into the bed right next to it as well. Alright guys, well thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and that your garden maintenance is going nice and smooth. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye!